Do you even collect cards, Alf? So much talk, no action from you. Friends, how are we doing? It's another day. It's another sports card video. Back again. You know you can count on me. I hope that everybody is having an amazing time. Weather is starting to heat up nationwide, and it is pool beach time. Time to get outside. We got the National less than, 60 days away now. I'm going to Heroes Con, middle of June, comic book convention with my sons. It's going to be a wicked time. Titled this one today, Be Greedy When Others Are Fearful, and some will jump to conclusions on what I mean by this, but we will certainly talk through. Before I start, huge thanks to today's video sponsor, COMC.com. 35 plus million card inventory, treasure trove for collectors with a wide range of options to suit every taste and preference. The user-friendly COMC interface allows you to filter and search for cards with absolute ease, ensuring that you find exactly what cards you're looking for to add to your collection. Whether it's basketball, football, baseball, Marvel cards, entertainment cards, it's all there on COMC. You can even grade your cards through COMC. You can run auctions through it. It's like Disneyland for card collectors, so make sure to check out my links down below. You want an awesome way to display cards, protect cards, and UV protection. Let me say this too. PSA just announced they got the new slabs coming out and there's UV protection. They don't really say how much though. It's not as if it's going to be 100% UV protection. I think there's maybe an added layer of UV protection. Doesn't mean that you can take it to the beach with you. Not that people take slabs out to the beach with them. But anyway, better safe than sorry for the really good cards in the collection. And frankly, if you want them just to look really good, SlabMags Sports Card Dad code gives you 10% off your order. Oh, and also go Saints. Man, the Saints are going to be wicked this year with Kubiak's new offense.
It's our night! It's our time! Get it for this city! Get it for each other! We gotta smell greatness, and we gotta finish strong! Who that? Who that? Who that say gonna beat them Saints?
All right, being greedy when others are fearful. So many will kind of jump to conclusions here and think that maybe I'm just talking about, hey, high-end cards, spending big money on cards. And that's not necessarily really what I'm talking about. I guess that could be part of it. For many, many cards, we have been in bearish mode. I mean, it really has been bearish over the last few years coming off the pandemic. Now, there's still a lot of rare stuff, a lot of low-numbered, autograph type stuff that has shot up in value and continues to. There's a lot of cards that continue to rise up, but for the most part, I'll call them important hobby cards. Some examples would be the 2000 Bowman Chrome Tom Brady rookie card, the Wayne Gretzky 79 Topps. I know the O-Pee-Chee is more rare, but 79 Topps also a very popular card for his rookie card, and that card's just amazing looking. And when you talk about like just a cool looking card, the Gretzky rookie is great. The 2003 Topps Chrome LeBron James rookie card. At one point, I think the PSA 10 went up to like 40 grand or something ridiculous. Now I think the PSA 10 sits at about $3,500. I personally think that it probably has a little bit more room to go down, but that's just me guessing. There's a lot of these important hobby cards that really, of course, they shot up, but they're not rare, they're not scarce. And a lot of people have put more emphasis on rarity, scarcity, and then kind of playing that demand game. Is there demand for it for the player? It's a fun ride. It's a really fun game speculating on a lot of these cards. But there's so much money that is moving and always has been, but especially nowadays when you look at guys like Wembanyama, who is amazing. When you look at a lot of these new prospects coming out, baseball prospects, football quarterbacks, when you look at how much money flows to that new shiny star, rookie, whatever, that's going to be the next Greg Jeffries probably. But a lot of money moves that way to the front. And the one thing that it looks like, for me as a Drew Brees collector, it's fantastic. I can literally buy Brees cards at a hugely steep discount because he is forgotten. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer here in a couple of years. But nobody cares about Drew Brees, and he sits right behind Tom Brady. He passed these records first and then just couldn't outlast Brady. Brady just played longer than him, and so he has the most yards, he's got the most touchdowns, but Brees was the guy that broke these records initially. And he's number 2 on these huge record lists. He's won a Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, he hasn't won 10 titles. He hasn't won 5 titles. He can't scramble around and throw like an Aaron Rodgers. He's just so consistent and just got it done year in and year out. So for me, it's fantastic because his cards are just forgotten. I can go out, I can get some nice Breeze cards at very inexpensive prices. Whether we're talking about exquisite, whether we're talking about flawless, autos, patch stuff, it's great. So I'm having a blast. And so what I mean here is, if you are looking for kind of these iconic type rookie cards, like what we said, that that aren't rare. Populations continue to move up on them, but we've seen a lot of these cards be graded here over the last 5 years. I do think that the majority of some of the higher grade stuff, meaning like 9s and 10s, for a lot of the cards that I had mentioned, have already happened. And even if we're talking about the Wayne Gretzky rookie, maybe it's 7s and 8s. Yeah, will they find more? Of course they will. And are there still a lot of raw copies? Of course. But over the last 5 years, they've just graded a ton. I think we could probably got another few years where there's just going to be some heavy grading again. But I think that for a lot of these cards, we're starting to get towards the end of where the good supply is left. Because look, if there's a nice card out there, someone's going to grade it. So if it hasn't been already graded in the last 5 years, in the next couple years, I'm sure it probably will be. The low end and the mid end of this market has been red hot. Card shows are still packed. Card shops are still opening. People are still investing big money into sports card shops or just collectibles shops. You're seeing the National is coming up in Cleveland. A lot of people are like, oh, it's probably not going to be as busy as last year. We'll see. We'll see. It probably will be slammed. It's not going to be the 2013 National. It's going to be absolutely slammed. We do talk a lot about, repackers keeping that low to mid-end market afloat, but there's also just a ton of collectors / speculators that are buying in that low-end, mid-end market. And you really see it when you go to a show like the National, because it shows just kind of so many people, average Joes, guys and gals out there, families bringing their kids. There's people out there that are buying that are not buying for the repack. They're just out there having a good time and building a collection. The one thing I'll say, this is where you can really be greedy. So again, we're not talking about being greedy necessarily, buying the $100,000 card. But man, guys, the singles market today, the singles market in sports cards and trading cards today is the best that it's ever been, in my opinion. Yes, if you go back to the pandemic and when you saw prices shoot up, it was not a great time for the singles market. It was wildly overly expensive. Now, new product is BS. Part of the hobby that's really overpriced is new product, and that includes repacks as well. Expensive break spots, expensive repacks, prices on hobby boxes just continue to rise. What's really kind of funny to me, and let's see what Panini does this year. Panini's going to have National Treasures, Flawless come out. Fanatics already ate up a lot of the autograph signers for a lot of the new athletes. So what the hell is going to be in those basketball products? You can't get a Wemby autograph? Are you still paying $8,000 for a briefcase for Flawless? Are you? And probably will. And that's the thing that's absolutely nuts. Probably will still sell out at $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 for a Flawless briefcase that does not have the key autographs in it for, CJ Stroud or for, Wembanyama or any of these guys that people are looking for. And those are autograph products. Those are memorabilia products. People want the patches, they want the autographs. That's what they are paying huge money for in those products. New product is an absolute disaster right now for the average hobbyist. So like I said, be greedy when others are fearful. In the singles market, man, there's no reason to go out and buy a hobby box. Just save your money and you can get the hits right out of the damn thing on eBay. It'll be on eBay next week. Just be patient and wait for it. Unless you are chasing, one of one, black finites, gold prisms, the really kind of the top tier type stuff. Yes, maybe those are going to be very expensive on the singles market. But everything else out there, it's just not. It's coming and it is wildly available. And so it's never been better for collectors. And this is whether we're talking about new product or we're talking about older sets and stuff. You can go on the singles market and there is all sorts of goodness out there. If you want a PSA 9 or an 8 or an SGC 6 or an SGC 7 of whatever that's going to look like, whatever card you've been targeting, man, there is a lot of inventory out there. Now, if we bring up big picture economic stuff that could have an impact and also just competing things that we don't know how this is going to work out. First one, of course, is the federal interest rate. The feds will lower the rate sometime in 2024. It might be November or December. It might just be that they just ride this thing out until they really see some serious pain and then they lower them. But typically, and I think the guesstimate is if they do lower them, even if it's half a point or a point, that will be a optimistic, bullish sign for the markets that are already red hot. The stock market, I think the NASDAQ yesterday hit an all-time high it doesn't all add up. Like a lot of the stuff doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's another factor out here that is kind of not talked about near as much, and it's credit card balances and delinquencies. I saw a couple of stats that had popped up on my feed here recently. Credit card delinquencies, that means like past 90 days late. They're at highs since going back to the financial crisis 2009, 2010, where there was a lot of delinquencies and a lot of trouble on the credit card side. People maxing out credit cards, not being able to pay. We are starting to see a pretty big increase there. So where does the rubber hit the road here? You know, you've got people that are hitting limits on credit cards. Do they still have money for hobbies like cards or golf or whatever it is? Our national debt here in the US and frankly globally. Globally, this is a problem. It's always talked about here in the US, of course, but globally, there's massive debt all over the place. How does that have an effect? Because I think that a lot of people look at, well, in the short run, they can lower interest rates. Okay, and that gives a kind of a little bit of a bump, a little bit of a boost. But what about the debt that just keeps on rising and rising and rising that has to be paid back? How does that work? What sort of effect is that going to have? What are they going to do from a policy standpoint? We talk about the government. This is even more scary. What are they going to do to raise that money, or say they're going to raise the money to pay off that debt? You know, I don't know, guys. So for a lot of the detractors out there, people that are very bearish on kind of the economy over the next few years, I don't really blame them, because there are some really nasty looking signs, but it just keeps on going, you know, just keeps on moving ahead, maybe until it doesn't. And I guess that's what we're going to find out. It's that whole F around and find out. The U.S. Government spending on both sides of the aisle has been effing around, and they're probably going to find out, and they're not going to find out. We're the ones that are going to find out eventually, because that bill will all be due for us. So it's going to be interesting times. To be clear, hobbies can thrive in recessionary times. People, they get in their feelings about stuff. What's great, again, talking about the singles market being inexpensive, we can be going through a deep crisis here, and you can still buy cards for cheap. So you can still get an outlet of like, oh my God, the world sucks right now, but you know what? I can buy trading cards at different levels. I can't buy a stupid hobby box because it's going to cost you $1 zillion, but you can most certainly get into cards of your favorite players. There's different price points for all of them. All right, my friends. So being greedy, not necessarily meaning trying to buy the highest end cards, the $1 million cards, the $100,000 cards, but being greedy as a collector, recognizing that, hey, there's a lot of really cool, fun inventory all over the map as far as price points go, from low end, mid end, and then up into the high end. There are opportunities to buy, sell, trade, flip, or just hold on to your stuff and just enjoy your Bobby Hebert card collection, because I know that everyone's out there just like me buying up these Bobby Hebert cards. All right, my friends, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.